If you want to score, then you need to stay tuned to this morning's guest. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Franklin G. Burroughs Simeon B. Chapin Art Museum at 3100 South Ocean Boulevard. We're focused on SCORE, Counselors to America's Small Business, and we're visiting with one of its counselors, Harold Swanner. Good morning, Harold.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for coming in early on a Wednesday morning. What about this Myrtle Beach Art Museum?
It is beautiful.
It is amazing, and this room is gorgeous. Some of these pieces, I know viewers can't really get right in on them, particularly some of these right over us, but it is a magnificent museum.
I think many people are surprised at the quality of art, of Brook Green Garden, and various other things that we have in this community.
Absolutely, both in Horry and Georgetown, and for our viewers in the PD and southeastern North Carolina, they need to just get on down here, cruise down Ocean Boulevard, and show up right here at Springmaid Beach, a little north of Myrtle Beach State Park, and check out this art museum.
And find out what great things we have here.
Absolutely. Along with SCORE, that's really doing a lot. I think I saw that the Grand Strand chapter was voted the best chapter of the 6 chapters in the state of South Carolina just last year.
No, just this month.
This month. Fantastic.
So,
wow.
Yes.
That is wonderful.
We've been working hard to improve our chapter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, and of course, y'all make an impact on a pretty sizable area, Harold. What area does this chapter of SCORE cover?
We have 6 chapters, although we realistically do about 2, do a good job in 2 chapters, Horry, Georgetown. Both Horry, Georgetown.
2 counties, Horry and Georgetown County, absolutely. Right. And of course, your office is there, very easy to find, the main office right in the heart of Myrtle Beach.
Yes, and we have a satellite office in the Chamber of Commerce in Georgetown.
I did not know that. That's wonderful. It's important to be able to make it. These are such big counties. Geographically, got the largest county in the state and the 4th largest county in the state right next to each other, so you'd have to have some kind of presence down there. What exactly is SCORE?
SCORE is a group of volunteers that started out retired. The executives retired. However, we do have counselors that are actively involved in business today. They do not have to be retired in order to be a SCORE counselor. And we're willing to counsel free to any existing business and or startup business.
Okay.
This is all free, no charge for our time.
What kind of counseling do y'all provide? I mean, what is it practical? Is this everyday stuff that small businesses and do you deal with large businesses at all?
Well, again, if SBA declare a business under 500 people as small business,
which should be a heck of a lot of business in Horry and Georgetown.
We qualify for most of the businesses here in Horry, Georgetown, Horry and Georgetown County.
Right. You know, later this week on Friday, Santi Jimenkonkel with Santino's Pizza, and I think big into real estate, is going to be with us. And somebody, when we think about small business, of course, later this week on Friday, we'll talk to them about growing a small business. But there are lots of startup businesses in this area. Are there certain things they need to be doing to make sure they can stay in business, Harold?
Many things they need to be doing, Greg. First, as Santi done, is talk about a business plan. Where SCORE is very big on getting people sit down and get a business plan. Many of the startup businesses have to do a business plan and see it does not work on paper, save their money, and not go into business. That's one. The ones that does go into business have a lot better chance of surviving because they do have a plan to go into it, and most of the time the plan will work.
Well, that's a very good point. So a lot of folks, sometimes they'll actually do the business plan and then figure out, golly, this is not going to fly.
Oh, yes.
Let's save our cash. Because, of course, you put a lot into it, it could be just blown.
Yes. When I was doing business brokerage, I've seen many businesses that would think if they had enough cash to get the doors open, the first day there, they'd get rich.
Right.
And 3 days, a week later, they'd be closing the doors up that quickly.
It is terrible. I mean, that's a scary thought. But at the same time, you know, a lot of folks, they really feel that exactly what you said, that if we open the doors, it's going to happen.
Go happen. So where scores sit down, help them work out a business plan, and when you see it on paper, if it doesn't work on paper, rarely will it ever work in reality.
Right, right. Let's say a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school. Is there a good phone number? Is it the 918-1079? Is that the best number to call?
That's the best number for SCORE.
Okay, and there's a website also.
Yes, mbscore.org.
mbscore.org. Very easy to find. Of course, this chapter 381 covering a large area, but surely the impact on Horry and Georgetown County for our viewers. Pick up the phone at 843-918-1079 or go to mbscore.org. You know, of course, there's a lot of great, and you mentioned the Small Business Administration. The SBA is very supportive of SCORE and really helped, I think, found it. Is that right?
Yes, they founded the SCORE group.
Okay.
And they still support us in a great way. We get about $1,500 a year to operate an office on.
Is that right? That's all y'all need?
No, that's all we get from SCORE.
Oh, that's all you get. Yeah, they helped you get started. But they know that now y'all are all volunteers, though, right?
We're volunteers, but we still have a secretary 3 mornings a week that we have to pay. We still have expenses to telephones and other supplies that we have to pay for.
Sure.
So we have to be somewhat of an entrepreneur-type business ourselves in order to survive.
So folks can actually pick up the phone and call to even make a donation or go online.
Well, we would appreciate that very much.
That's very important. And obviously the impact that you can have, I mean, the worst thing that can happen, a small business starts and then has to close their doors. So the impact that you can have on really keeping dollars whole and making sure that folks can get business started properly, it's good for the entire community.
Very much so. Probably all the government programs that are out there, with the few dollars they give us, SCORE got the best return on investment of any program they have.
Right. Speaking of returns on investment, of course, you've been involved in seeing businesses both purchased and sold in the county, as well as growing your own small business. Share with viewers about what got you to Horry County and what's kept you here.
What got me to Horry County was sunshine, and what's kept me here has been sunshine.
And it's been a few years, Harold.
22 years. We have poor people in every county in the world. We have rich people in every county, so the location has no bearing on where you can make a living or not.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
It's what you're willing to sacrifice and do determine how well you do in business.
You really have to sacrifice a lot?
Sometimes, yes. The problem is with small business, and I think you realize it, being in business, you may not work that hard, but the business is with you 24/7.
Right.
Whether you're at work or not, it's always on your mind.
Mm-hmm. As a small business owner.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and oftentimes even for folks who work in that small business, they're thinking about it.
Too.
But surely when you're responsible for the debt associated with the business and trying to make sure that banks oftentimes are happy, or small business administrations, folks who provide loans for startup business, it's you're right. That's a very good point.
When you're got heavy debt service and not too many customers, it's a very stressful time.
Right. Of course, aside from helping to buy and sell businesses and move them, you've also grown your own business over the last decade or so.
I've been in several different businesses for the last 37 years.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the tips that, and of course we'll talk to Santi later this week about growing a small business, but what are some of the tips that you'd share, some of the free advice that you help provide? I know we can't encapsulate them right here in a 25, 30-minute interview on a Wednesday morning, but what are some tips that folks really need to think about as they're sitting here listening right now?
Probably number one is planning. Number two, realize that they're not the boss anymore. The customers become the boss. So you need to offer a program that fits the customer need more than something you would like to give them.
Right.
Many of the businesses I've seen fail, the owner has a concept of what he thinks people will like. And when he opens his business, he finds out that people doesn't like his concept as well as he did.
Right.
So you need to offer public something which they will need. It's the secret to it is really doing your research and find a niche that is not being well serviced.
Right.
It's very difficult for a small business to sit down next to Walmart and compete with the same merchandise that Walmart has.
Right.
However, sitting by Walmart offering a service that Walmart does not offer may be good business.
Absolutely, just from that walk-by traffic that comes by there. And you see oftentimes those in a Walmart, in a strip center there, whatever is in there. And even sometimes you'll see some folks who do some level of competing, but oftentimes it's folks that are stark opposite business, and they thrive.
And again, many times you want in the off track where limited competition is.
Right.
I like the Walmart approach in that when they first started, they went into all the small towns that no other big box store would go into, and had several thousand locations before they went into the big cities.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Santee is a good example of that. If you look at his restaurants, every one of them are in small locations that don't draw the big Pizza Huts and the Domino's and this type of operation. Your competition is less. The people are more appreciative of you being there, and it is much easier. Your rent is normally cheaper in a place like Loris than it is on Business 17.
Right.
So your operating cost is better, competition is less, and the people are more appreciative.
And they really get into support your business and get to know you, who you are, and your family even.
Yes.
Right.
And I've seen too many people want in the most expensive corner on the 17, big rent, big flashy signs, and before they have customers enough to support them.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a very good point. That old idea of niche and grow rich. Niche and grow rich. Find that niche. Really wrap around it. And now for you, Harold, are there certain techniques? Now, oftentimes, for instance, we'll hear folks talking about you got to write goals down and put them down, and that may be stuff that the SCORE councils will be providing to people. But on their own, are there certain techniques that you have to live by in your own life, in your business life?
Well, again, everybody needs a business plan.
Right, right.
It is mandatory if you go to borrow money that you have a long, drawn-out business plan.
Oh, yeah.
I view my business more as a concept, vision.
You mean your own business?
Own vision.
Yeah.
I have a vision of where I want it to go.
Right.
And the vision is a little different than a business plan because I know what I want to go, know what I'm doing. The difference is I don't know how to get there. So once I know where I'm going, I start looking for ways in which to get where I want to be at.
Right, right.
Whereas the business plan is I try to have the vision and too often write down the steps of getting there. And once I'm so busy following my plan, I may miss the opportunity that sitting beside of me becomes too focused on my other plan.
Right, right. That's a great point.
So, but yet you do need major planning. You don't. It cannot happen without good planning.
Speaking of that, you all have been planning recently, I think, to create a more advanced advisory board and working on an advisory board formation there. How's that going, Harold?
That's going extremely well. I'll give you a little more background on it, Greg.
Please.
Is that we started 2 years ago developing an educational program in addition to a free consulting. We have what we call the SCORE U. We have about, I think, 9 or 10 courses now that we offer to small businesses. There's one group of 7-course series from beginning to all the way through financing, marketing, financial planning, and the whole group that they can take as a series, and we have other standalone groups. We've had that running for 2 years, working extremely well in partnership with Orange Georgetown Technical College.
Right, right.
So before you start expanding, you need a good solid base to work from.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, we've got a good base. Our educational program, in addition to our free counseling, is working excellent. We've got probably the best program that I've seen for businesses of anywhere.
Really?
We've got some of the top people in SCORE that have operated and managed huge corporations that sat here and done some work that's phenomenal, just fantastic. So we got our bases where education now. Our next step is to move on out and take advantage of this. The advisory board is going to be a major part of it. We're getting people, small business people on the board. We've got educators on the board. We've got marketing people on it. We have the Chamber of Commerce endorsing it.
Great.
And several bankers on it. So we got a great mix of community people in it to help us identify where our services can be better used and help maybe send people to use our free services.
Oh, yeah, and you've had folks that have been involved year after year.
Yeah.
We think about John Bonsignor or Bob Chekenek or Mr. Goroski.
Oh,
So many folks that have stepped up and just opportunity after opportunity to really make a difference in both small and big business. What I consider big business of 50 or 100,
yes,
but still perceived as small by the Small Business Administration, but really making an impact on those businesses. And one important thing to point out is it's confidential, right?
It's very confidential,
Okay.
extremely confidential. We all have to sign confidential agreements that we will not discuss one person's business with another one or with our friends.
You know, so oftentimes a lot of small business who want to kick off will take their business ideas out of the area so that no one here locally hears about them ahead of time, trying to get something launched, and therefore they're not able to get a lot of practical advice because they're worried about someone else running with their great ideas. That's something that people need to be worried about.
No.
Right.
No, they don't need to worry about it. I can give you the best idea in the world, and you think yours is better than mine.
I'm sure you're right.
Everybody wants to develop their own ideas instead of copy somebody else's.
Yeah. Oftentimes, I think you've highlighted, in Walmart, you give us a great example. I think I've heard Harold Swanner talk about McDonald's and Oprah Winfrey. Share with viewers a couple of those examples of reasons why McDonald's matters or Oprah Winfrey matters, for instance.
Why I look at people like Walmart, McDonald's, Oprah, they've been successful, extremely successful. And what you do is look at some of the attributes that make them so successful and see how you can adapt that to a very small business. We can't be those, don't want to be a McDonald's, but today I've asked probably 1,000 people if McDonald's make the best hamburger they've ever ate. And I've yet to find one person that said it's the best hamburger they've ever had. So how is McDonald's so successful is that they had the most consistent hamburger you've ever had.
Right.
You go anywhere in the country, any day of the week, you will get consistency.
Right, that's a great point.
So consistency, when you start to develop a business, is extremely, extremely important. Because if you like what the company's doing, when you go back to it, you want the same consistency that you had the last time.
That's part of the reason you shared with Oprah when we were at the Coastal Workforce Center over there near the Horry Georgetown, the Conway campus of Horry Georgetown Tech. When we were up there, and obviously part of the reason you think about Walmart, consistency, even in small communities now and large, starting in Bentonville, Arkansas, not starting in Little Rock.
Right. Oprah, most people don't realize, I think she's got at least 6 personal counselors for different areas.
Is that right? She's got a lot of personal counselors.
Right. Personal counselor is a very in word today.
Do you believe in personal counselors?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yeah, absolutely. We've moving our Fortune Academy over into big way into personal counseling.
Is that right? Fortune Academy is really getting into personal counseling?
Right.
Great.
Right now we're counseling in real estate. We're counseling for bank lenders, officers, and we're doing general small business counseling in addition to my SCORE counseling.
Is that right? How exciting.
The only difference is Fortune you pay for me, the SCORE you get me free.
You can get Harold's great advice for free. You better pick up the phone and dial 843-918-1079 or go to mbscore.org. And again, that's a great point. You can either call Fortune Academy, for instance, and get some of that great counseling, but who wouldn't pick up the phone and call your SCORE hat? Yeah.
Well, fortunately, there are quite a few people will.
Yes. And that great point of the confidential nature is so important to small business. They've got to know that who they're talking to, whoever the advisor is, and you've got men, women, you've got folks of all races, all sexes, obviously, who are there making a difference to connect in whatever way is needed.
Yeah, anybody that wants it free. We have quite a few minorities coming in, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
Love to see them succeed.
Absolutely, Harold. You know, we think about for you, as you look back on that 37 years of being in business, is there anything that sticks out in your mind that has really made a big difference on you, Harold? Of course, over time, now you can look back, not like an armchair quarterback, but you can look back and say, you know, I did this right, I did this wrong. These are things I wouldn't do again. These are things that I will definitely always do. What are some of the things that you've done? I hate to highlight, but what are some of the things you've done wrong in the past you'll make sure you never do again?
I went broke.
You went broke, yeah. Well, you'll never do that again.
I hope I
never. That's right. No, I'm sure you never will.
One time is enough, and you'll never do it again.
Yeah. Well, we hear about folks, unfortunately, because they don't turn to advisors like SCORE, they don't call Fortune or otherwise to get advice, where they actually hit broke not once, not twice, even 3 times, because they don't search inside and look for those good reasons why.
But I might also add, don't let one failure stop you. I think Walt Disney failed 3 times.
Walt Disney?
Yeah, before you got Disney going.
Right.
People like Colonel Sanders, I forget how many times he failed.
Or Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln. So failure should not be the point to stop. It's just you should learn from it and move forward.
That's a great point. That's a great point, and it shouldn't be so much the pursuit of that ultimate goal shouldn't be so much, it shouldn't drive you. I mean, it should obviously be very motivated, but you shouldn't have heart attacks or anything just trying to push yourself, because there's other things in life.
There is many other things in life, and there is life after disappointment. But hopefully we can avoid the disappointment.
Yeah, those are great words, Harold. What are some of the other ways, the practical ways? You mentioned the Georgetown. You've obviously impacted students in Georgetown County as well.
We're down there. The most successful program we probably run is for the last 3 years we've been running a junior achievement program, apprentice program.
Right. Bob Chekenek talked to us about that at the home show recently, about a young woman down there in Georgetown who has been superstar.
She is
got a national award, maybe.
She not only won for business planning, she won the state level.
Right.
She went on the national. I believe she placed 2nd or 3rd in the national level.
And this is a teenager.
Teenager, yes. From a minority group, no less.
Right.
And just a fabulous person. She is. Have came back. She was in her first class 3 years ago. She's come back now and assists in new groups as a advisor.
We need to get her on the show, Harold. Please,
Okay.
if you'll call her or have Bob call her. I know we talked to Bob. And Bob, another great guy, dedicated to his Dalmatians and that group out there. We always loved the Herald being next to him at the home show, because folks are coming over to see the Dalmatians. We just happily pick up on his scraps. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I'll get her number in.
Please do. Please do. We just got a couple of minutes. That idea of young ladies at an early age, teenagers, making an impact on them, and now hearing her travel around the country, coming out of Georgetown County and able to talk about the impact that SCORE has had on her life. You're seeing that with lots of small business people.
Very much so. We've had, probably the greatest influence of any government-sponsored program. It's more than just having a program out there. We lived this. We gave it. I think our local chapter did over 3,500 hours of free service last year.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, I know even though it is totally confidential, oftentimes you'll have a small business say, I want to talk about SCORE. I want to let people know. We had the guy who had founded Eggs Up Grill, who was one of your early clients, came up from Pawleys Island, I believe, to be a guest on the show when we were filming over at the Herald studio on the air base, and to hear him talk about the impact that SCORE had on him, and to have his counselor there along with him. It was amazing hearing all the practical things.
We have many, many successes.
Right.
And yes, they can talk about us all they want to. We cannot talk about them.
Right.
There's a difference.
That is a great point. That is a great point.
We love our clients to tell other people how great we are.
Yeah. And the amazing thing, Harold, is you're not talking about your own stuff. You're talking about volunteering for others.
Yes.
I mean, that's a great commitment.
This is talking about being able to give back to the community after the community being good to you.
Absolutely. Those are great words. Thanks so much for being with us
pleasure
this
to be
morning,
here.
Harold. I'm sorry we've run out of time.
That's all right. Another time.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Harold Swanner, a counselor with SCORE, Counselors to America's Small Business. Coming up. Their acronym could have been something better than SCORE. I see it. I can see it right now. RWE, Real World Experience. Real World Experience. They're not offering textbook solutions to what small business owners or folks that are kicking off a small business need. It's real world experience. Women and men, folks that are offering their time, volunteering of themselves, who've had experience. Real world experience can make a difference. Pick up the phone, 843-918-1079, 918-1079, or that website's a gorgeous one, mbscore.org, mbscore.org, making a difference not only on Horry County and Myrtle Beach. It's called the Grand Strand SCORE chapter, but it covers all into Georgetown County. You heard Harold talk about that young woman, this woman who was recognized top in the state, traveled somewhere and was recognized second or third in America for getting involved in business plans. She was getting advice, support from the Myrtle Beach chapter, the Grand Strand chapter of SCORE. There's a reason the Grand Strand SCORE chapter was recognized as South Carolina's chapter of the year in 2007, just last month. Think about it. Pick up the phone, 918-1079. You can leave a message. They'll call back. You heard him talk. Key words, confidential. Confidential. That's not words. That's one word, but you can break it down. It's confidential. They're making a difference. They're focused on you, and it's all about real world experience. Harold Swanner and all the counselors, thanks for what you're doing.